Hello everyone, I'm Herman van Papenop, Head of Asset Allocation at Momentum Investments. Allow me to take you through our asset class views for the next year. In a nutshell, our main views can be summarized as follows. Firstly, we still favor South African assets over their global counterparts, supported by more attractive fundamentals as well as valuations. Within South African assets, our main preference is for South African equities, while cash is our least preferred local asset class. Thirdly, among the global assets, we would rather be in global equities than global fixed income or global property, based on our expectation of how fundamentals will play out in the coming year. So let's start by discussing the main themes in the global investment environment. Prevailing low implied volatilities in the US equity and bond markets seem to indicate that these financial markets have been thankful that the impact of US tariff increases on US growth and US inflation have so far been less than expected. However, it is typical that announced tariff changes take time before they are reflected in the economy, due to preemptive inventory buildups and behavior adjustments by economic agents. For instance, although it is estimated that the US effective tariff rate based on US President Trump's tariff pronouncements at the time of filming is in the mid-teens, as depicted by the blue star on this chart, data on the latest actual tariffs collected by US Customs implies a lower effective tariff rate of below 10%, as can be seen in the red line on the chart. As the actual effective tariff rate drifts up towards the announced policy rate going forward, there should be more discernible negative impacts on US inflation and economic growth, with corresponding adverse read-throughs for both US bonds and equities. On inflation, leading indicators from price surveys point to upside inflation risk in the coming months, with unfavorable implications for US bond yields. An environment of slowing US growth and rising inflation has historically been negative for both US equity and bond returns. Against this backdrop, it may seem surprising that the aggregate US equity market has been so vibrant this year. However, this is because the growth negative elements of the Trump policy package, namely higher tariffs and the immigration clampdown, are mainly headwinds for the smaller market capitalization sectors such as consumer discretionary, retail, and healthcare. While the positive elements, namely lower taxes and deregulation, are mainly tailwinds for the higher market capitalization sectors, like technology and financials. So the overall US equity market has been more positively than negatively influenced by the Trump policies. Furthermore, the combination of anticipated rising inflation, fiscal stimulus in 2025 to 2027, and the potential for Fed meddling by the Trump administration to ensure a lower policy rate environment, at the very least can be construed as less negative for the US equity market than the US bond market, if not outright positive for equities. However, this doesn't imply that the US equity market would be totally immune should US bond yields rise meaningfully due to a deteriorating fundamental backdrop of higher inflation, fiscal deterioration, or a less independent Fed. In this regard, Morgan Stanley has pointed out in recent research that US equities have derated each time in 2024-2025 whenever 10-year US yields rose above 4.5%. The current low implied volatility levels in both the US equity and bond markets depicted on this chart point to some level of complacency among investors. Markets could thus be at risk from any negative surprises when expectations are so sanguine in a very uncertain environment. And there are many uncertainties. Not only are there question marks about the sustainability of the narrow AI equity rally, but also about the magnitude of Fed rate cuts currently discounted by the market, the outcome of the tariff policy experiment, and the durability of Fed independence. There was already some indication of the US equity market's response to elevated expectations during this year's second quarter corporate earnings results. Analysis by UBS shows that where companies beat profit expectations in the second quarter, share price rises were only half of the historical norm. whereas reported results in line with or below expectations resulted in share price declines of 4 times the historical precedent. This shows that when markets are already discounting a favorable outcome, there is little scope for disappointment. Several fundamental forces are simultaneously conspiring negatively against the outlook for the US dollar. A slowing US economy that is closing the positive economic growth gap with the rest of the developed markets, anticipated Fed policy cuts in excess of those in other DMs, and question marks about the US as a safe haven investment destination all point to a weak dollar environment going forward. While dollar weakness has historically been associated with a strong outperformance of emerging markets over DM equity markets, as is evident on this chart, this has been relatively small so far in 2025, pointing to some future catch-up potential for EM. Sovereign bond markets in developed economies outside the US continue to offer materially lower yields relative to their domestic equity markets' earnings yields, reinforcing a valuation bias in favor of equities. For instance, the German 10-year government bond yield at around 2.7% remains significantly below the German equity market's earnings yield of roughly 5.3%. The disparity is even more pronounced in Japan, where the 10-year bond yield of 1.7% compares with an equity earnings yield of 5.6%. In contrast, US bonds screen as attractively valued relative to US equities on a historical basis. However, this relative attractiveness could persist if inflationary outcomes or fiscal deterioration were to exceed current market expectations, keeping US bonds undervalued versus US equities. Occupancy levels across most US commercial property subsectors, excluding retail, continue to decline, underscoring that demand is yet to absorb the current supply. At the same time, there is little evidence of a slowdown in new development, despite rising replacement costs that should, in theory, temper supply growth. Looking ahead, the potential for rising sovereign bond yields, driven by deteriorating fiscal positions and a higher US inflation, represents a key risk to the global listed real estate sector. While global listed property continues to trade at a discount relative to global equities, valuations appear stretched compared to most fixed income alternatives, including nominal and inflation-linked treasuries, as well as global investment-grade bonds, shown on this chart, with yield spreads currently sitting well below their long-term averages. Moving to the South African asset classes, we see fundamental and valuation support for South African equities and nominal bonds. Recent research by UBS shows that South African listed companies have negligible revenue exposure to the US and should thus not experience a notable direct negative impact from the announced 30% tariff increase on SA imports by the US. This is in sharp contrast to the EM heavyweights Taiwan and South Korea that are much more prone to higher US tariffs due to larger direct US revenue exposures by their listed corporates. This is not to say that there would be zero negative tariff impacts on SA listed corporates, as there may be some adverse indirect effects through the domestic growth driver for those corporates linked to the local economy. However, it should be emphasized that less than half of the aggregate revenue base of the overall South African equity market is generated from the local economy. While South Africa remains in a falling local interest rate cycle, even if further rate cuts are postponed to 2026, this continues to provide a positive backdrop for both local equities and government bonds. Historically, South African equities outperformed South African bonds in falling rate cycles. South African equities remain attractively valued within the EM universe, trading at a roughly 1 standard deviation discount to the historical average relative forward PE since the onset of COVID. In addition, SA continues to stand out as a superior dividend market, with forward dividend yields currently 27% above the EM average, slightly above its long-term premium of 25%. Given South African equities' high beta characteristics relative to broader EM, coupled with a significant valuation discount, we continue to prefer SA equities over the wider EM peer group. The South African equity market remains under-owned within global emerging market funds, currently ranking as the 5th largest underweight position. A renewed allocation to EM equities, potentially supported by shifting dynamics in a new Trump policy environment and by expected dollar weakness, could translate into meaningful flow support for SA equities, whether through a partial closing of the GEM underweight or selective off-benchmark positioning by global investors. This is particularly pertinent after the SA equity market has been one of the strongest global equity performers in 2025, potentially putting the overlooked market back onto the radar screens of foreign investors, as has often been the case in the past. In addition, domestic structural selling pressure has eased, with local multi-asset funds now largely aligned with their higher foreign allocation limits following the February 2022 increase in Regulation 28's offshore cap to 45%. Although South African equities have rallied strongly over the past 18 months, concurrent and continual earnings upgrades over the period have kept valuations in the attractive territory. South African equities are still trading below their long-term historical forward PE average, even on a conservative one-year profit growth assumption of 17%, relative to the current consensus number of around 22%. South African vanilla government bonds continue to offer among the highest real yields globally, surpassed consistently only by Brazil within the EM universe. On a forward-looking basis, the current SA real bond yield of more than 5% is around 0.7 standard deviation above its historical average since the adoption of inflation targeting. Market expectations that South Africa's inflation target will be lowered, confirmed by the SA Reserve Bank's acknowledgement at the end of July that 3% is now their de facto preferred target, supported a strong rally by SA nominal bonds during May to July 2025, but undermined the performance of inflation-linked bonds. However, since then, ILBs have recovered on the realization that there is likely to be a cyclical rise in local inflation in the remainder of 2025, which should lead to widening break-evens in the coming months, providing near-term fundamental support for ILBs. South African cash continues to offer investors an above-average prospective real yield, underpinned by our expectation that inflation will average around 4% over the coming year. However, as the SARB's rate-cutting cycle since September 2024 and rising inflation have reduced real cash yields from prior peaks, future returns from cash now appear less compelling relative to opportunities in other asset classes, particularly South African equities and nominal bonds. There has been a positive recent trend in earnings guidance by South African listed property companies. This builds on the improvement in the operating and financial metrics that have been visible in the SA listed property sector for a while. Not only are operating costs coming down due to solar investments, but the cost of debt is also falling as property companies start to see the benefits of interest rate cuts. As a result, interest cover ratios have improved from historical lows. Net property income growth is the strongest in the retail sector, followed by the industrial sector, but is still not positive in the office sector. On the supply side, development activity has been much lower than in the pre-COVID period in both the office and retail sectors, while on par in the industrial sector. Since the onset of the Russia-Ukraine war in February 2022, EM central bank gold purchases have been the dominant driver of the higher US dollar gold price. Elevated geopolitical risk and concerns about the security of assets in the global financial system, given the precedent of sanctions imposed on Russia, have driven this trend. More recently, heightened uncertainty around US policy in the Trump era has reinforced global central bank and investor caution over concentrated exposure to US dollar assets, further underpinning demand for gold as an alternative asset class. Despite this, EM central banks still maintain only a modest allocation to gold within their reserves. This suggests further potential upside for the gold price if large reserve holders such as Russia, China, India and Turkey were to increase their gold holdings towards the significantly higher ratios seen in developed markets. From a portfolio construction standpoint, allocating to gold via an exchange-traded fund enhances diversification due to gold's low correlation with other asset classes. If US Treasuries were to lose some of their safe haven appeal amid questions about the reliability of the US as an investment destination, gold would likely be a direct beneficiary. This would also reduce the correlation between gold and Treasuries even more, further strengthening its diversification role. Additionally, research from SPG Securities highlights that the Rand gold price has consistently ranked among the strongest performing domestic asset classes in recent years, albeit aided by persistent Rand depreciation. In conclusion, we continue to favor South African asset classes over global assets. Our main overweights are in South African and emerging market equities, South African nominal bonds, and gold. This is counterbalanced by underweights in developed market equities, global property, global bonds and cash, and South African cash. It's been a pleasure sharing some of our current investment insights into global and local asset classes with you. Thanks very much for watching.